Hello, boys and girls. Are you ready to learn about contractions today? Well, do you know what is a contraction? That's okay. If you know or if you don't, today that's what we're going to be working on. Here are our objectives. The first objective says, I can identify and read contractions. Read that with me. I can identify and read contractions. The next objective says I can use an apostrophe to signal the use of a contraction. Read that with me. I can use an apostrophe to signal the use of a contraction. And the third objective reads, I can tell the difference between contractions and possessives. Read that one with me. I can tell the difference between contractions and possessives. Great job! We're going to master all three of these objectives today. But first, let's take a look at some important vocabulary words. An apostrophe, as you can see here, is a punctuation mark used to show possession or show that one or more letters have been left out. So an apostrophe can be used in a possessive or it can be used in a contraction. On this side, we have the word contraction, such as the word don't is an example of a contraction. A contraction is a word that is formed from two words with some letters left out. An apostrophe shows where letters are missing. We're going to go into great detail about this today, how two words how we leave out a couple of letters and then we use an apostrophe to show where those letters are missing. So it's important to understand the difference between an apostrophe, which is a punctuation mark, and a contraction, which is a word. All right, now let's take a look at these sentences. Remember, a contraction is a short way of joining two words into one word with letters left out. I can figure out the meaning of a contraction if I know the words that were put together and the missing letters. Now I'm going to show you some contractions with is and are. She is here. She's here. When I put she and is together to form a contraction, I leave out the I in the second word, is. So this letter here gets replaced with the apostrophe. She's here. They are here. They're here. I left out the A in are when I made this contraction. So I took out this letter and replaced it with an apostrophe. There means they are. So you can see here these two words are joined together to make this contraction. Same thing here, she is. Two words joined together to make this contraction. Now let's look at the flip chart 29. This is also attached to the video, so you can look at it later if you need to. So let's look at this first word here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see it. He's. Look at the apostrophe. Do you see it? Notice this word has apostrophe S. This signals that the word is probably a contraction. Let's read it together. He's. He's is the contraction for he and is. Let's read each word on this list together. After each word, we will identify the two words that form the contraction. It's. What are the two words that forms it's? It is. Good. She's. What are the two words that form she's? She is. Good. What's. What are the two words that form what's? What is. Good job. Now let's look at are. Are. They, their. What are the two words that form their? They are. Good. Your. What are the two words that form your? You are. Good. And you are doing fantastic. Okay, now let's look at sentence number 1. Down here under more practice. It's Pam's hat. Let's identify the two words with apostrophes. It's and Pam's, right? Let's look at the word it's specifically. Let's zoom in here so we can really focus on this word, it's. I don't think this word is a possessive because it does not show ownership. It is not followed by a word that names something that is owned. This apostrophe must signal that one or more letters has been left out. This word is a contraction of it is. And you'll notice it right up here from our practice, right? Now let's look at the word Pam. Pam's. This word is followed by the word hat. Something owned by Pam. So this apostrophe signals a possessive. Let's read the rest of the sentences 2 and 3 together. And show me a thumbs up when you see a contraction. Ken's in the back. Did you put your thumb up for Ken's? That's correct. That's a contraction for Ken is. That's Lynn's snack. Did you put your thumb up for that's? Good, because that's is a contraction for that is. Great job. Now it's your turn. You will identify the contractions and possessives in the first 5 sentences. Okay? So I'm going to circle those so you can see exactly which ones you're going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? The first 5 sentences, you're going to identify the contractions and the possessives. So I want you to get a blank piece of paper and number from 1 to 5 and copy the sentences from this chart. Write C over each contraction. So a C is for the contractions. And then the P is for the possessives. For each contraction, write the contraction and the two words that make the contraction. So if you write a C, you need to have the two words that are making that contraction. Pause the video and do this now. Okay, kiddos, welcome back. I hope you paused the video and identify the contractions and possessives in the sentences 1 through 5. Now, let's take a look at some other types of contractions. Remember, a contraction is a short way of joining two words into one word with letters left out. I can figure out the meaning of a contraction if I know the words that were put together and the missing letters. Now I'm going to show you some contractions with is not, will, and have. John is not absent. John isn't absent. Notice how the O was taken out and replaced with the apostrophe to make the contraction isn't. Again, these two words were put together to make this contraction. Isn't, is not, isn't. I will be there soon. I'll be there soon. In this case, this is the first time that we've seen a contraction where 2 letters were taken out. So it's not always just one letter. You have to remember that sometimes the contraction might have taken out two letters. And of course, it was replaced with the apostrophe, the WI. So I will became I'll. These 2 words, I will, became this one word, contraction, I'll. I have not seen it. I haven't seen it. Do you see where the contraction was made? Right, in the O. The O was taken out and replaced with a, what's this called? An apostrophe. That's correct. So these 2 words were joined together to make that contraction. Great job. Now, let's take a look again at this flip chart number 29. Let's look at this list with contractions with not. Look at aren't. See the apostrophe? Aren't. Notice that aren't has N apostrophe T. Aren't is a contraction for are not. Let's read each word on the list together. After each word, we will identify the 2 words that form the contraction. Ready? Aren't, are not, can't, cannot, didn't, did not, haven't, have not. Good job. Now let's do the will. He'll, he will, I'll, I will, she'll, she will, they'll, they will. Great job. Now let's do the haves. I've, I have, they've, they have, you've, you have. Great job. Now let's look at sentence 7 down here at the bottom under more practice. Isn't that Dad's sock? Let's look closely at these words here. Isn't and Dad's. I see an apostrophe in the first word, but it does not show ownership because it is not followed by something that is owned. It is a contraction with N apostrophe T at the end. I know that N apostrophe T stands for not. This word is a contraction for is not. Now, let's look at Dad's. This word is followed by sock, something owned by Dad. So I know the apostrophe must signal a possessive. Now let's read the next number 6 and number 8 together. Show me a thumbs up when you read a contraction. She hasn't had a hit. Did you put your thumb up on hasn't? That's correct. Now let's read number 8. I'll pack the bats. Did you put your thumb up on I'll? Great job. I'll is a contraction for I will. Now it's your turn. You will identify the contractions and possessives in sentences 6 through 12. So previously you did 1 through 5 and those are done. And now you're going to do the same thing with sentences 6 through 12. You can use the same piece of paper as earlier and continue the numbers from 6 through 12. Copy the sentences. Write C over each contraction and P over each possessive. I'll put that here. C for each contraction and a P for each possessive. Remember, for each contraction, You need to write the 2 words that make up that contraction. When you are done, take a picture of your paper and upload it to Schoology. There is a video below this one to show you how to upload if you are not sure how to do that. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson today on contractions.